students. So I just wanted to go over the reading practice that I sent you. We're going to do another reading practice tomorrow, but it will be through a video where I'm reading it with you instead of just sending you a reading worksheet. So thank you to Maria and to Lupe for doing the worksheet. So thank you. I saw your answers. Good job. So thank you. So we'll just start with the first one. It says, Margaret lives in an apartment with 3 roommates. There are 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. She shares her room with her roommate named Rachel. Margaret works early in the morning on the weekends and needs lots of sleep. Rachel comes home late on the weekend and is very loud. Rachel does not pick up her things either. Margaret is getting frustrated with Rachel. What should Margaret say to Rachel? So, there's a lot of information in this. And at the end, I ask, what should Margaret say to Rachel? Now, I didn't have a question where you would fill it in, just because I wanted it means a lot of expressive words, and sometimes it's hard to do it in English. So I just wanted you to try and think about, okay, how would I say this in English? What would I tell them to do? An easy way or a way to try and figure out how to give advice in English from your native language is think of what you would tell somebody in your native language, and then go through what you said and see if you can translate it to English. So I think that's a way to do it that's a little bit easier, just because, you know, you can use a certain word in your native language, and if you don't know what that word is in English, you can use it. You can look it up in Google Translate is one thing, or if you have a translator that you use, you can be like, what does this word mean in English? And then you'll know, okay, and you'll learn a new word. But for the most part, when I ask you those questions, it's just to kind of get your brain thinking about how you would give advice to somebody in English. So one of the things is this word either. Sometimes it's pronounced either with an E sound, and sometimes it's pronounced either with an I sound. So Rachel comes home late on the weekend and is very loud. Rachel does not pick up her things either. So when it says, oh, she doesn't do this either, it means that this is, when it's used this way, it's saying this is another thing that they don't do very well, or that they don't do. So you can use it when you're talking about one thing. You're saying, oh, I woke up late this morning and I didn't have a ride to work either. It just means you're talking about 2 things. There's one thing and the second thing you're adding on, and it's related to the first thing. So that's kind of how we use either. So that was the reading that I had you do, and then I asked some questions. So why does Margaret need lots of sleep on the weekends? So let's look at where it talks about, it uses the word weekend. It uses it right here. So Margaret works early in the morning on the weekends and needs lots of sleep. So she needs lots of sleep because she works early in the morning, right? So she works early in the mornings. It's not she is tired from work, working during the week, because it never says that she probably is tired, right, from working in the week, but it doesn't say that in the story. She has an appointment early in the morning. There's nothing in here talks about an appointment. There's no word that says appointment. It says apartment, but the word appointment is not in here anywhere. So how many roommates does Margaret have? So at the beginning, it says Margaret lives in an apartment with 3 roommates. So it says that she has 3 roommates, right? So it's going to be 3. Here, let me see if I can switch it so it's easier to look at. Okay, here we go. So it says that she lives in an apartment with 3 roommates. It also says that she shares a room with her roommate. So what that means is it's kind of confusing with English just because it's like, oh, she has 3 roommates, but then she has a one roommate named Rachel. What does that mean? So in English, when we talk about living with people, we call them roommates. And that word you'll see is the word room and mates put together, right? So when we say roommate, it just means people that you live with, right? That aren't they you usually use it when they aren't your family, right? So if I lived with my family, I wouldn't say I have 5 roommates, right? Or I have 7 roommates, but I would just say I live with my family. But if I lived with people like I do now that that are my friends, but I'm not related to them, they aren't family or anything, I would say, oh, I have 1 roommate. And it just means that I live in the same apartment or the same house with people. If you say that you have a roommate, it could also mean that someone shares your room with you, your bedroom. So sometimes people, in order to not pay as much money for their rent, they'll split it between 2 people, right? And that's a roommate. So you use the word roommate in English, and it can mean people that you live with or someone that shares your bedroom with you. Sometimes people will call this your roommate, right? That's kind of confusing. You say room twice, it's kind of weird. But so when you say roommate, it could be either, right? Oh, I used the word either. So um it can be people that you live with, or it can be people that share your room with you. Um, but we know that she shares her room with one person named Rachel, but she lives in an apartment that has 3 other people in it. So that means she has 3 roommates. So that was kind of confusing, and I just wanted to put that out there. But it's easy to, when you're reading it, you shouldn't have to think about it too hard. Just because the first sentence says Margaret lives in an apartment with 3 roommates. So it's saying, it just starts out the story and it says she has 3 roommates. So that's all you got to worry about. She has 3 people that she lives with. So she has 3 roommates, right? Okay. What is the name of Margaret's roommate? So that one's kind of confusing because you're like, oh, dang it. Did I answer the first question right? Because I said 3 and this is asking for the name of 1. So this says that she shares her room with her roommate named Rachel. So her name is Rachel, right? One of the roommates' names is named Rachel. So one, and that's the only roommate that it talks about the name of. So that's why you would say the name is Rachel. So the next reading is, Toby has worked at a bank for 25 years. He always comes to work on time. He works really hard. Last week, his coworker was promoted to be the manager. Toby thought he was going to be promoted. Toby feels upset. He has worked so hard, but was not promoted. What advice would you give to Toby? Okay, so again, what would you tell Toby is the best thing to do? Would you tell him talk to the manager? Would you say, Toby, you need to just look for another job that they're going to value you, that they're going to promote you, that kind of stuff. So it's just be what do you think would be best for Toby to do? So that's what advice means, right? And so it says, Toby has worked at the bank for 25 years. He has always come to work on time. He works really hard. Really, in English, we use it to mean extra, right? So you could say he works hard, but if you say he works really hard, you're letting somebody know that that not only do they work hard, but they work extra hard. And last week, his coworker, which is somebody he works with, right, was promoted. In English, we use the word promoted to talk about when somebody is put in a position um, that is paid more than the one that they have now, right? So you can be you could be, sometimes they call them like, associates, and then you get promoted to manager. Or you could be an assistant and you get promoted to be the manager or the supervisor, right? So there's, supervisors, coordinators, there's lots of names for people's jobs in English, right? And when you're promoted, it just means that you are given a new job at the job that you had, and you get paid more, but you also have to do a bit of a different job then, right? Because when usually the people that get paid more are the people that are making sure everybody else is doing their job, if that makes sense to you. So let me try and think of a different way to say it. Yeah, being promoted is just it just means that you're getting a new job within the place that you work that you get paid more for. That's what promotion is that you're getting paid more, or you're given a job that um a different job, one that's different from the one that you're working now. So that's what promoted means. So how long has Toby worked at the bank? So this says 25 years. So when the word 20, right, it means two, but it means that the two is in the tens place, right? So 25 years. So 5 years. So it's 25 years, this one. Was Toby promoted to the manager's position? And the answer is no, he wasn't promoted, because it says, right, he always comes to work, he works really hard. Last week, his coworker was promoted. So this is saying past tense. So last week, his coworker was promoted. His coworker was given the new job. And Toby thought he was going to be promoted. So Toby did not get promoted. His coworker did, and he's upset about it. So was Toby promoted to the manager position? Right? Was he made a manager? Nope. He wasn't. So for this next part, I wanted to give you like a baking recipe directions, just because sometimes in English there's words in there for directions that you don't really like, they don't really make sense sometimes. But this was the part that you guys did the best on. So good job. You guys really know how to follow instructions really, really well. So it says, step 1, preheat the oven to 375 degrees F, that means Fahrenheit, or 190 degrees Celsius. So in science, there are two different ways to, or there's more than two ways to talk about the measurement of temperature, which is like how hot or cold something is. But you need to remember that in America, we use a different measurement system than the rest of the world for some reason. I don't know why we're still using it, but 375 degrees Fahrenheit is what we use in America. And so all of our appliances, like our ovens and stuff, are in Fahrenheit. So you would change it to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. So you turn on the oven and you press the little buttons and you would put 375. But if your oven was in Celsius, which is the measurement that the rest of the world uses, you would do 190. So it says step 2, mix spice cake mix, okay, pumpkin puree, chocolate chips, nutmeg, cinnamon, ginger, and white sugar in a large bowl until just combined. Roll dough into 1-inch balls and place 1 inch apart onto ungreased baking sheets. Okay, so there's a lot in there. So it says mix spice cake mix. Why does it say mix twice? So you can have, I know you guys have definitely seen them at the store, and you've probably made these cakes before, but when you go to the store, there's these little boxes, and inside is this powder, and it's the mixture, it's the stuff that you use to make a cake or to make brownies or to make cupcakes or muffins, right? So when it says mix spice cake mix, you're just like, why do you have to mix something that's already mixed? But this is a list. It's saying you need to mix the spice cake stuff, the spice cake mix, with the pumpkin puree, which puree just means something that's been put in a blender until it's squishy and soft and sometimes a liquid. So that's what puree is. Chocolate chips. So it's giving a list. It's saying you need to mix all of these things together. Chocolate chips, nutmeg, cinnamon, ginger, and white sugar in a large bowl until just combined. What does just combined mean? That's such a weird thing to say in English. So it's saying you need to mix them until just means you need to mix it to this point. You need to mix it to this part. So you need to mix it until just combined. Now, when somebody says just combined in a recipe, what they mean is you want to mix it and then you stop when it's mixed together, but it's still a little bit lumpy, or not necessarily lumpy, but it's you can still kind of see the pieces of the stuff that you've mixed together. So you don't want to over mix it so it just all looks the same, like it just looks one thing and it's super runny. Yeah, you want to make sure that it's still kind of just still a little bit lumpy, a little bit. So step 3, bake in the preheated oven until golden brown, 11 to 13 minutes. So step 3 says bake, so it means put in the preheated oven. Okay, so when we say preheat, right, we said preheat the oven, it just means to turn on the oven and let it get to the temperature before you put things in, right? So it will beep when it's ready to be put in. But when you say bake in the preheated oven, it means that you have to put them in when the oven says that it's 375, right? Mix confectioner's sugar. Confectioner's sugar is just powder sugar. Mix confectioner's sugar, milk, and vanilla extract. Vanilla extract is those little tiny, they're usually expensive bottles that are the vanilla flavor. Vanilla extract means to like pull out. That's what it means in English. But when we say vanilla extract, or if you say licorice extract, I guess, there's lots of cooking things that have an extract. It just means that it's usually the flavor has been taken from the plant or the food. And that's what it is it's the flavor. So vanilla extract is vanilla flavor. Together in a bowl until smooth, adding more milk if needed, drizzle sugar mixture over warm cookies. So it's saying you mix it all together and then you pour it, drizzle drizzle is kind of, it's not just pour. When you say drizzle, it usually means that you kind of, you let down a little bit at a time, like, and you spread it over. So let me just, let's see if, I hope nothing bad comes up while I search this. So, so this is drizzle here. Ha ha ha. I found a picture to show. So this is what drizzle means. And these, you see how the frosting and the sauce, the little caramel, is just kind of like little lines that are like being spread on, that are falling on the food. That's what drizzle means. Drizzle also can mean, if somebody says, oh, it's drizzling outside, you're just like, drizzle? That's what we use for food. Sometimes in English, people use it to talk about rain that isn't very hard. It's just kind of like, it's just kind of a little bit like, sometimes they'll say that it's drizzling outside, meaning it's raining a little bit, or sometimes they'll even say it's spitting, right? They're just like, that's weird. Why are you saying spitting for the rain? But it just means that it's like very, very soft rain. It's not really raining at all, but it's just there's some raindrops. That's what's, if somebody's talking about the weather, they say, oh, it's drizzling, means that it's raining a little bit. Oh, it's kind of spitting outside, right? And that just means that it's raining a tiny bit, just a little bit. So how hot does the, we'll get back, sorry, I got off topic. How hot does the oven need to be? The answer is 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius. So you would pick the one that says 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius. That's the answer. So you'll see that 375 degrees is with the F, the Fahrenheit, and 190 degrees is with the C. And this wouldn't be the answer because it just says 375 degrees or 190 degrees. That would mean, if you said that, it just means it has to be between 375 or 190 degrees. But it's telling you specifically it needs to be this temperature or this temperature. But it depends on what, if you're using Fahrenheit or if you're using Celsius. So, and in English, when we say a temperature, we say the number, the word degrees, and then we say how we're measuring it, whether it's Fahrenheit or Celsius. Or sometimes if you're using scientific temperature, it's called kelvins. But you don't need to worry about it. You'll never have to deal with that if you're just cooking. So how long do you bake the cookies? So the answer is 11 to 13 minutes. It says until golden brown. So when they turn golden brown, you can take them out. But it gives you a time saying, okay, it takes about 11 to 13 minutes. So it can take 11 minutes, it can take 13 minutes, it could take 12 minutes, right? So it's 11 to 13 minutes, somewhere in between that time, 11 minutes and 13. In which step do you add the sugar mixture? Now, this one was kind of, I thought about the question and I was like, this could be kind of confusing, but I want to see what they say. So, right, it talks about a spice cake mix that can have sugar in it. So it's like, why? Is that the sugar mix? But the one I wanted you to focus on was the part of the sentence, the part of the story that says sugar mixture exactly. And it says it at the end. It says drizzle sugar mixture over warm cookies. So it's step 4 because it has you make the sugar mixture to drizzle, right? But it's in step 4. So that's what the answer is. So it's step 4. Okay, so now this one. As of now, this says 2/4/2019. In English, usually people will read it as February 4th, 2019, right? So as of February 4th, 2019, because that's what the numbers mean. But sometimes people just say as of 2/4/2019, which just means it's the month, the day, and the year. So as of 2/4/2019, as of February 4th, 2019, your next payment is due on 3/4/2019 or March 4th, 2019. Please make your payment online or mail to the address of 1111 Crunch Street, Tampa, Florida. That's a fake address. That's not a real address. I just made it up. Changes to your policy after this notice may change the amount withdrawn. So when is the next payment due? So it gives you two dates. It gives you this one, 2/4/2019, and it gives you this one, 3/4/2019. It says as of, and it gives you a date. So when it says in English, when a bill or something says as of this date, it's saying this is the date that we sent this and that this information is being given to you. So it's saying that the payment isn't due on this date. The payment, it says your next payment is due on, so it's saying your payment is due on 3/4/2019. But it's saying as of 2/4/2019. So as of 2/4/2019, so as of this day, your next payment is on this day, 3/4/2019. So the next payment is due on this day, 3/4/2019. So that's why that's the answer. And it says, the next question I asked is, how do you pay the bill? So it's saying, please make your payment online or mail to the address, and then they give the address. So the answers that I gave you were, you can only pay the bill online, you can only pay the bill through the mail, or you can pay the bill online or through the mail. So I said you can only pay the bill online. That one's not right because I used the word only. If I said you can pay the bill online, that would be correct, but I used the word only. Only is what we use when we say that is, that's the, I'm trying to think of how to describe it without using it. So it's, when you say only this way or only this person, it just means that exact way. That's the single way. You can't do it a different way. There's no other way to do it except paying it online. But this says that you can pay it online, or another way you can do it is mail. You can pay it through the mail. So if you say you can only pay the bill online, it means that you can't mail it, you can't give it to somebody. The only way is through paying the bill online. So that's only just means there's only one way. Or if you said only employees are allowed in this room. That just means that that other people cannot come in. Only employees means it needs to just be employees. It can't be somebody else that can come into the room. This next one, I also use the word only. You can only pay the bill through the mail. Now this one's wrong because I use the word only, right? Because there are two ways to do it. You can pay it online or you can pay it by the mail. So that's why the answer is you can pay the bill online or through the mail. So that's it for my lesson today. And tomorrow we'll do some more reading practice. Let me know if you are having trouble seeing the screen or if it's hard for you to watch the videos. If you want me to make the video shorter, if you want to talk about something else in English, just let me know.